Prakriti Invoking Earth is the theme for the courses that I will be offering in term 4, and the come and try classes will give those who haven't had the opportunity to do any of my classes a chance to find out a little bit more about the dance and the philosophy, and see if they're interested in joining the classes. Through moving archetypes, what I offer is ancient movement and ancient philosophy, because they are the one thing. Ancient philosophy came into life and was accessed through practices. And temple dance, Indian temple dance, was one of those practices. The inquiry of these practices is always relevant. And I think the part of that ancientness is because the inquiry was about the source of all our philosophies, the source of our thinking, the source of our actions, the source of how we construct stories, and how we construct philosophies, and how we construct our relationship to reality. And these questions, these inquiries, could never be a mental process. You couldn't really think about it or talk about it. It was really about moving out of the head and moving into almost beyond the mind and beyond the head, or changing the quality of the mind so that we are able to perceive in a more connected way, how we are connected to all of life, and what that means for us in terms of how we live and how we choose to act. And at the same time, these practices are beautiful. They are aesthetic, they are sensuous, they are joyous, and it really reveals contemplation as a creative, as a dynamic, as a movement, rather than as a rejection of anything beautiful or a rejection of the senses. And this is why I think dance contemplation is so relevant to our times, because it offers a joyful way of moving into some serious inquiries. Prakriti, the theme for term 4, is, of course, a very well-known principle in Indian philosophy. Sometimes it's interpreted as the feminine principle. That can be a bit of a narrow understanding. Prakriti is essentially the movement towards coming into being. So if we think that in reality there is the movement towards wholeness, towards the source, which is Purusha, and the movement towards manifesting, towards coming into form, towards coming into the senses, towards coming into feelings, that is Prakriti. So Prakriti is often goddess, the goddess of earth, but Prakriti is also sometimes expressed as Vishnu, which is the male deity, that is the deity of all manifest creation. Prakriti in dance really is about the practice of weight, about the lower body, through movements that are called charis, where through really beautiful weight shifts, we move into this contemplative state, which brings us towards how we connect ourselves to those 5 elements of the Prakriti domain, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So all the courses will consider the movements, the dance that brings us into the domains of these elements. It also will consider the chakras, particularly the Muladhara, which is the earth chakra, and which is actually the most important of all chakras, because the Muladhara is the doorway towards towards being in that perception, which can be in both that which is very material and also to be able to perceive where what is material comes from, where that perception comes from, which is, whatever we call it, consciousness, or that which is immanent, or Purusha, or Brahman, however we call it. So Muladhara, which is the lowest chakra, is the doorway, and it's a very, very important chakra. So we will look at some of the attributes of that chakra through movement, because all of these things are essentially movement. It is only through movement that we change, we transform. We cannot change by talking about it or thinking about it or making it into a system, but it is through movement that we experience it, through our feelings, that we experience these attributes and these domains. So I offer 4 different kinds of classes. One is the rasa class, which is for those who are interested in something that looks very much like a straight dance class, where we will be learning choreography about Prakriti. There will always be some elements of philosophy in all my classes, but in rasa, the emphasis is on choreography. So if you are interested in something that is more looks like a usual dance class, then rasa Prakriti dance is maybe for you. The other class is Prakriti dance contemplation, and here we move a little bit more towards dance as meditation, as contemplation. So we will go through the very symbolic movements in the Prakriti space, but we will also look at opening up those movements with guided practices, movement practices towards more contemplation states. Because in dance, contemplation, everything happens through movement. So in this class, we have that movement from just the dance, but also moving much more towards contemplation. That is the dance contemplation class. The third class is a Karana class, which is much more immersive. It's a class that is it's a class that focuses on the 108 Karanas, or movement constellations of Shiva. This is not directly linked to the Prakriti focus, but it is much more of an ongoing dance, meditation, contemplation, quite a deep class for those who are ready for plunging into a bit of a deep dive in dance meditation. So we consider these constellations. We might do a few in each class, and it's a very minimal movement, but we really through guided improvisation, through guided kind of movements, we actually really sink into these constellations of dance. That is the Karana meditation class. And the last class is a philosophy class. And in each term, the philosophy classes, there are 4 of them in the series, and they are a good support for the main theme that we do. So in term 4's classes, we'll be looking at the philosophy of Prakriti and Purusha, which is the Sankhya philosophy. And we will be considering, what do the texts say about these and how the dance connects with the text. So if you're curious about the philosophical underpinning of the practice, then you may be interested in coming along to these classes. There are packages, so you can do more than one class, and there are packages available if you wish to do that. And more information about all this, including the come and try classes, is available on the website. So I look forward to sharing the beautiful practice of Prakriti with you, and to introducing you to the work of Indian temple dance, the beautiful practice of Indian temple dance and philosophy. Thank you.